Well, this time of year, it's very important that everybody pays attention to what is going on, how it's going on with the 2-year-olds, which ones are racing, how they're racing, and then importantly also behind the scenes, which ones are getting turned out, which ones are maybe heading to the sale, which ones are we retaining and not keeping, and the same goes for the 3-year-olds. The sophomores, I had alluded to the fact the other day that many of them will be sold this fall, and simply in the past, we've tried to find the best way forward for us, for everybody, for the stable, and what that looks like, and keeping a lot of the 3-year-olds and hoping they can be better than we know they are. It just hasn't been the proper path, I don't think, moving forward. Keeping horses that we know are going to struggle as 4-year-olds is maybe not the best course of action for us. So how do we change that? Well, first thing we do, horses like Globetrotting and Spirited Deal, those types of horses, we know they can graduate into an open level, open being, open conditions. So once you get out of that non-winners of 5, non-winners of 6, or so much money category that most of our horses can do, at that point you have to decide, do we have a claimer or do we have a horse that's going to struggle in these classes above? I think there's tons of classes out there for the 2 aforementioned horses to race in. And every year we're going to have 3, 4, 5, 6, hopefully more and more every year that can stay around. But understanding that there are some that can't or won't be able to stay around, that's important also. You look at the horses we lost this week. Brilliant Corners, that's the class he belonged in. Not only did I tell you that, but he showed it and he proved it. He's just not a grassroots horse. It's straight non-winners. Yeah, I think he was coming off the virus. Could he have done in there? Maybe, but maybe not. We know exactly where he could do. Horse like Blue Monk, perfect spot for him also. We got paid top claiming dollars for those horses, and that is exactly where they needed to be. So I'll start our list with another horse that is in the class Blue Monk was in, Adrenaline Rush. Again, coming off the virus, raced the other night. I thought he probably should have won off that trip, but paced 54 flat. And don't forget, they had opened that class up to fill it. As one of our clients said, Anthony, why do we have him in the 15 claimer non-winners of 70? I think you're right, because the non-winners of 20 and 25 and 30 didn't fill. And another one of our clients just said, well, you could take the horse to Kawartha or Sarnia. Yeah, we could. We could send him to Inverness or Charlottetown and race for $1,500. At the end of the day, I mean, this does come down to some sort of viability also, and to understand that our horses only have 20, 25 starts a year max, probably, and to use those starts to race for a lot less money. I don't mind using those starts for confidence, using those starts to get an easy win, let the horse get back on the winning track, fine. But when it comes to racing, we really have to pay attention where we walk. It's important also. So I think Adrenaline Rush can do in that class in Georgian. Maybe I'd like them to fill the class he belongs in, which is the 15 claimer non-winners of 15, 20, 25, whatever, not 70. I would like to minimize our exposure to that class until we actually fit it. That would be helpful. So Adrenaline Rush raced good, finished 4th. Blue Monk, Brilliant Corners, both claimed this week. First glance, this is a horse I know there's going to be a lot of people angry, but to keep him as a 4-year-old, where would you like to race him? Non-winners of 40 at any of the tracks is a tough, that is a tough bunch of horses. To drag him all over Ontario or all over North America looking for a class, when in reality he's a 3-year-old pacer, nice colt, that's probably going to have, 40, 50,000 made by the end of the fall, probably going to have a mark of 53, 54 on his card. I think he already has a mark of 54. He's a nice horse, but he's not a 40 claimer. He's not a non-winners of 5 horse at Mohawk. He's a mid-level condition horse. And at the end of the day, those are the horses that are really difficult to do well with in the coming years. So our job will be try and figure out what classes work for us, what tracks those are at, and what horses fit those. And, unfortunately, horses like First Glance and a couple other horses we're going to talk about are not going to fit in the stable as 4-year-olds. And that's the reality of it. Eglera AM will. I think this is a filly that's got a lot of road ahead of her. I did toy with the idea. I did think, geez, we get a good mark on her, get a couple of good lines on her. Maybe we could sell her for quite a bit of money. Maybe. But if there was a number of horses on here that will be staying, I think Eglera AM's right on the bubble. She is right on the bubble. And keep in mind, whether they're pacers or trotters, you have to imagine that some of them will get better. at the 4-year-old age. Trotters more than pacers, but at the same time, you have to allow for a horse like a Glare AM who's had tie-up issues, who's interfered a little bit. That will dissipate. That will dissipate as she gets older. And I think what you'd be left with is a really talented trotting filly. But is she one that's going to stay? She's on the bubble. I think probably she will. I'm a Lovely Lady. Again, this is a 3-year-old trotting filly, an Ohio bred, my MVP filly that's going to have probably, would she have 60 or 70,000 made now anyway, maybe more, and a bunch of wins on her card. The only way you would keep her is if she could do in the Nominators of 10 where Spirit of Dio was racing, or trot in 54, 55 and have a good spot for her. If we can find such a path, then yes, we could keep her. But again, another horse that we may be looking at turning over. Italian Grid is in a condition claimer. He's in the turnover phase at any point, if somebody wants to claim him. But an effective horse in the sense that he should be 1, 2, 3 in that class every week, and his claiming price is high enough, people should probably leave him alone. We've talked about this in the past. Kind of the perfect type of horse if we can put him in a spot where he should and could win every week. It's a great class to be in. Jazzy Judy. Now here is a very interesting prospect. We could put Jazzy Judy up 0.9 miles. Exit. What does that say? Exit 96. We could put Jazzy Judy up for sale before her final staking event. Theoretically, she's already made $99,000. She would never be worth more than she is in the fall before her final stake. She is one of the top 3 fillies in Delaware. Now, I thought she was the top filly last year. I'd like to get some races in her. A lot of people saying, where is she at? Not shockingly, she tied up a little bit when she came back from Delaware, so we're trying to get that AST knocked down, train her up. It's right here, right? Yeah. Exit 96. Yeah. Train her up and get some racing. I'd like to get her over to the Meadows for a couple of strong races, but that's going to take us at least another week. But back to what I was saying, Jazzy Judy. Imagine if we take Jazzy Judy, if we put her up for sale with a couple of lines of 55 or 56 on her, heading into Dover, where she races for 20, 20, and 100 in November. When would she ever be worth more than that? And again, this is all about building a stronger team, a stronger stable moving forward. And to do that, we have to look at what's best. Always our 2-year-olds are always going to be the future of the stable. It's what we do. Keeping them, retaining them into their 4- and 5-year-old season is great, but we have to make sure we're retaining the right horses. And I think Jazzy Judy, here's a filly with 4 or 5 wins and 100,000 made. She's not nearly as good as I'm a Lovely Lady right now, and maybe ever. And we've just talked about moving I'm a Lovely Lady. So, Miss Meringue, definitely probably going to sell her at some point in the near future. I want to give her the chance to be better. When I trained Rose Run, Why Not? They were at the same level, virtually training down this season. When I trained Rose Run, Why Not? She felt awesome. When I trained Miss Meringue, she felt okay. 2-2, last half in a minute. All right, she's a little bit bigger than most of those other fillies. We'll give her a few starts, but at the same time, I think you'll probably see her up for sale at some point. Mama Knows Best, same type of issue. We're at, and again, I'm not selling these horses saying, we got to get rid of them. If we get paid the proper price for these horses, I think it's worth looking at selling them. But make no mistake, I'm absolutely not looking at giving any of these horses away. I'm just looking at what they could be worth and where we could use that revenue. Makes a lot more sense to me. My Jazz, again, another filly. She's probably going to be heading into the fall with 140,000 made. I assume she's got 120 now, something like that. But she's starting to get on a roll, get back going. But again, a filly before, hopefully going to have 5-6 wins, parimutuel wins at the time when we look to sell her, and 140 or 150,000 made. You do the math. There's just a very narrow window there for these horses as 4-year-olds. They can either race in the open level, and I don't mean open, I mean the top. I mean open condition to open ages at that level, or they're not going to be that useful for us. So you really have to take a very close look at what we have. No Free Lunch, he'll race all winter for us. This is a very different situation. The horse that cracked his foot, he'll come back stronger than ever, I suspect, in the wintertime. And again, if any of these horses fit Mohawk, Woodbine, where we can race them, I'm all for it. And make no mistake also, if we sell a My Jazz with 5 wins and 140,000 made, and we get decent money, we can invest maybe in a 4-year-old, right, with 2 wins and 25,000 made. Maybe not what that particular person's looking for, but exactly what we're looking for heading into the winter. So before you get your feathers all ruffled about moving some of the horses that have money made, we can replace some of the horses that maybe don't have money made. Where are you at? Northern Blizzard. I believe in Northern Blizzard. You know, he's had a lot of bad luck, this horse, his whole life. He has very few wins. He has, what, 2 wins? One win? He's got 1 win and very little money made. I can't imagine any reason to dump this horse. I know I believe in him. I'm your partner in him. And I believe this is going to be a nice horse at some point somewhere. Very bad luck in his racing career thus far, but I suspect we can get him on the straight and narrow and keep him there heading into the fall, into the winter. Lots of racing for this guy ahead. Perfect Record. Different situation. Consistency. I need some consistency. He looked great when he went to the Meadows and then immediately fell apart when he got to Saratoga. Probably not a great half-mile track horse. I guess you chalked it up. That's on me. You know, we have Philadelphia. We have the Poconos. We have the Meadows. We have Scioto. But at some point, once he gets up to maybe 3-4 wins, a decent mark, probably worth pretty good money. Yeah, sorry, I turned the AC off. Right here? Oh, it's right here. I'm sorry. I wonder if they have a drive-through thing. Okay. So we're here at the testing center for Amy to get her COVID test to go back to Canada. Need to get it done today, so we had to go half an hour outside of Lexington to get it done. Where are we at now? Rose Run, why not? Again, much like Northern Blizzard, I think a lot of bad luck has followed this filly along. She wasn't sound at the start of the year, but I trained her the other day, and she felt bionic. She felt very, very good. This is a filly with no wins, no money. I don't think she's going anywhere. I think she's staying with us for quite a while. Sweet Ambitions. Take her or leave her type thing. I mean, she's a mediocre horse. She's got some wins to get on her card. She's got some money to make. Are we in a big hurry to move her? But at the same time, are we going to protect her? Probably not. Once she gets out of that non-winners, she raced great in Sarnia. Then she, you know, we saw what happened the other day at Grand River. He ran over a wheel with her. I see he put the objection in on the driver on the inside. It did look like he was starting out, and there was some interference, but you got to give yourself a little room. I've been on both sides of that more times than not, on the guy on the outside than the guy on the inside. It happens, not the end of the world. But she had been racing good, so I'm eager to see what she's going to do. She does have a lot of breeding, both obvious breeding, but what I mean by that is on her program, there's breeding there, but there's some hidden breedings in there too. All the people that know a lot about breeding in our midst in the stable.ca have told me how well Sweet Ambitions is bred. It's not obvious to me, a layman. I can't see it, but apparently it's there. And I am interested with both the way she raced. A throw at her last line where she made that break. She clearly ran over a wheel. But the 2 lines before that were interesting. I'm keeping a close eye on her. She, as I said, the easiest way I could take it is take it or leave it. If we keep her, fine. If we don't, that's fine too. But she's a useful kind of horse right now and could be much more useful in the future. Tanzanite Tricks, this affiliate's in to go at the Meadows Wednesday. I like this filly. I think there's big things on the horizon for her and us. Now, does that culminate with her going 3 or 4 big miles and somebody offering us really good money? Yeah, there is going to be a price on this filly, an obvious price. We say that's what she's worth, but we're gonna have a lot of fun with her. I believe getting to that price. I'm very happy with her. Tipsy and Dixie has been awesome, but again, lots of money, lots of wins. She's probably not going to stick with us as a 4-year-old, but maybe. We'll see. These are conversations that we have to have heading into the fall, but this is a very important video for you because you haven't heard me talk about it in this light. Now we're getting through the summer. Now the sale season is coming. Obviously, a lot of these horses are going to be worth money to people, but are they going to be horses that are useful for us, the stable.ca, heading into 2022? Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. Walk on the Moon, again, he's nowhere near his saturation point, but that could be a good thing as far as what he's worth, or it could be a good thing in the sense that he's going to be a much better 4-year-old. I think both of those statements are correct. I think that Walk on the Moon's going to be a good horse for us. If we choose to keep him, great. If we don't, that's fine too. He's not really in the same type of a frame as Tipsy and Dixie on a number of levels, but when you talk about the room to make money, Tipsy and Dixie has won so many races and made so much money that she's really painted herself into a corner when the OSS program is done, right? She's not a gold filly. She's a useful horse, but she's got way too much money to race anywhere in any favorable conditions for us. Whereas Walk on the Moon, I think his best races are still well in the future with this colt. Where We Welcome, I can tell you right now, is absolutely not staying with us that long. She'll stay long enough for us to get a couple of good lines on her where somebody says, gee, she's a really nice filly. Yep, go ahead. You can buy her. Because I have zero faith in this filly. Her attitude towards racing has been evident from day one. Her inconsistency runs completely in line with what I just told you. She is the type of horse that breaks everyone's heart, and mine first and foremost, because we all know, you've seen it, you've watched her race, you know this filly can fly. More times than not, she simply chooses not to. So the type of horse we're not looking for, the only reason she's still here is because I know how fast she is. We just like to put 2 or 3 good lines on her, and whether we have to wait until the heat's gone and rest her a little bit and bring her back, our main goal with Where We Welcome will be to sell her. Won My Heart Hanover, again, a lot of people caught off guard. I said this is a filly we'd likely sell also. Somebody said, well, I'd like to keep her as a 4-year-old. Well, that's fine, but keep in mind, the classes we're talking about, like Path of Totality's trots in 55 and needs to trot faster to get to 100 grand. I'm thinking for a mare we're going to breed. Good breeding, lots of speed, 100,000 made and a good mark. Those would be things that I would be looking for and interested in. Won My Heart Hanover's got a mark of 56. She'll probably have 65 or 70,000 made. The side for selling would be somebody say, well, you know, she's only got X amount of wins, 4 or 5 wins. She got 40 or 50 made. She gets around any size track. This would be a filly I would like to have. That would make her resale value quite high for us. The more wins and the more money you put on her, the less she's actually worth. So you want to be able to work it out so that you meet both sides. You know, the how much we've made with her and how fast she is, and then catch it on the way down where you can say, well, you know, she doesn't have too much money made. She doesn't have too many wins. She's probably worth a lot. She's worth the most she's going to be worth right now, and I suspect that meaty part of the curve, that bracket we're looking for, will be somewhere later in the fall. So if you were to push me right now, truthfully, and say, okay, who's staying, who's going, I'll run through them real quick with you. Adrenaline Rush, not going to be staying. First Glance will likely sell in the fall. Eglare AM will likely retain. I'm a Lovely Lady on the bubble. I'm leaning towards sell, but we'll see. Maybe not. Italian Grid is in a claimer, so he's for sale all the time. Jazzy Judy makes sense to probably dip your toe in the open market right before that Dover stake race. Miss Meringue will likely be a sell. Mama Knows Best is similar to I'm a Lovely Lady. I don't know for certain. I'm leaning right now towards maybe selling in the fall, but we'll see. My Jazz, for obvious reasons, will likely be a sell in the fall, and I know there's a lot of people out there, that are going to say, oh, I love this filly, I just want to keep her. You have to have a place to race her. So I need people to understand that moving forward. No Free Lunch will be staying. Northern Blizzard will be staying. Perfect Record will likely be leaving. Rose Run Why Not will likely be staying. Sweet Ambitions, I don't know. Not a big deal either way right now. Tanzanite Tricks will be staying for a while, and we will likely look to sell her down the road, whether that's in her 4-year-old season or in this fall. I don't know. I like this filly, and I'm interested to see what's going to happen moving forward with her. Tipsy and Dixie will necessitate a sale this fall just because of how much money and win she has on her program. Walk on the Moon, I would probably say he'll stay, but we'll see. Where We Welcome's 100% leaving. Won My Heart Hanover, again, like the other 2 good fillies we have. Mama Knows Best, and I'm a Lovely Lady. I don't know. A little bit on the fence. We'll see. But that is a very candid, very honest look at what we have for sophomores heading into the fall of 2021, looking at the sales, looking at what's moving forward. You're not going to get a more honest opinion from me right now today on these horses than you just did. So I will talk to all of you soon. We still got all the barns to talk about. Amy's got to get her nose swabbed here in a second. We'll talk to you soon.